Module 10, getting family support. Before dreaming about the future and making plans, you need to articulate what you already have going for you, as entrepreneurs do. Reid Hoffman, LinkedIn co-founder. This is where life gets sticky. We need family support if we're going to be successful as entrepreneurs. And you know what? Sometimes families aren't always there for us because stepping out on your own is a really scary thing. And not everybody's built to be an entrepreneur. So whether you get family support or not, you need to at least give it a shot and give your family the best benefit of the doubt and really show faith in them and respect for them before you go flying off of the cliff, right? So I want you to imagine, for example, that your spouse started a business without telling you about it. And maybe he or she went out and got a $50,000 loan, put you guys down as the guarantors on it. The business then fails and you are now responsible for covering this loan. You could be in debt, or you could be, in trouble of losing your house, and all these things could go wrong. Now, how would you feel? You would feel betrayed, you would feel mistrusted, you would feel angry, and that's not what you want. That is not going to get you off on a good foundation for your new business. So there's a couple things I suggest. With your spouse especially, he or she needs to know exactly what's going on. In the beginning, they need to know what's going to be required, how much money is going to be needed to start this business. Now, I have seen a lot of entrepreneurs that I've coached through on this where they get off on the right foot. They tell their spouse, hey, we're going to start a business, and the spouse goes, great. We're going to need $50,000 to start the business. The spouse goes, great. And then things start to get into trouble. And they don't tell their spouse about the trouble. And then they end up in debt, and they end up with a $100,000 loan the spouse doesn't know about, and it just tumbles into oblivion, and the marriage crumbles along with it. The moment that you put money in between two people, that relationship changes. I want you to be aware of that. I've seen this too many times where partners and spouses have failed because the business is failing. So if you love your spouse, you want to make sure to give him or her the benefit of the doubt and let them know what's going on. Now, I have a policy in my own family. For me, I tell my wife everything that happens in the business that's strategic. Okay? I do not, however, tell her about any of the day-to-day stuff, the fires, the happy stories, the bad stories, none of that, because that just stresses her out. It stresses us out. We don't need any of that. But I do talk to her about, if I'm hiring new people, if I'm going to be bringing on more capital, if I'm moving office space, of course, all those big things that are strategic in place, I tell her about those. And I always get her support and her buy-off and make sure that she knows where the business is headed. And that's what I suggest you do. I found early on in my marriage that when I came home and said, man, I had a really bad day, this client, we lost a client, or something bad went wrong, she would get worried that the business was going to crumble, and then we would have a lot of discussion about that, and really things were just fine. I just had a bad day. And so you kind of have to use your best judgment on what to share with your spouse and what not to. And every spouse is different, but that's what works really well for me and my wife. Now, let's talk about something even more sensitive. Once your spouse knows what's going on and he or she fully supports you, you have more people in your life, more family that are going to kind of wrap around this thing. And we like to call them parents and in-laws, right? So how do you approach your parents and tell them about your business? Well, most parents tend to want what's best for their kids. And when you tell them, Mom, Dad, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to start a business, many parents may freak out at that concept. They don't want to see you struggle. They don't want to see you at risk of potentially losing your future or whatever it might be. And I get that. I'm a dad myself, and I want the best for my kids. But here's my advice on talking with your parents. Share this information with them in respect to them. When I told my parents that I was starting a company, my rule for myself was I was not going to ask them for money. I did not want money to come between me and my parents. I did not want that to be a deciding factor. I didn't want it to ever be weird. I just told them I'm starting a business, and it would really mean a lot to me if I could get your emotional support as me and my family go through this together. I'm going to need to be able to talk to somebody that I know and trust and love and respect. And my parents saw that as a compliment to them. And there were times when I went to my parents and said, hey, I'm struggling. I don't want money, but what would you do in this situation? And they would give me good mentoring advice. Now, they are not entrepreneurs. I had other mentors that are entrepreneurs that would walk me through the logistics of problems and how to handle those things. But my parents would give me emotional support that quite honestly, nobody else can. It's nice to be able to go to mom or dad and get that support. So that's what I suggest you do. Now, if your parents freak out, right, and they say, what? You can't start a business. You got to work at Dairy Queen for the rest of your life, or whatever they want you to do. Hopefully, they don't want you to work at Dairy Queen for the rest of your life, but you get the idea. If they freak out on you guys, You have to make a decision. You're going to have to decide that your dream is so important to you that despite their retreat and not wanting to support you in this business, you have to decide to still move forward in it and know that they still love you and that you love them, but you're going to follow up on this dream. And if that happens, my advice is to say, Mom and Dad, I understand that you are nervous for me and you're scared for me, but I also know that you want the very best for me in my life. And I believe that for a person to be happy, it is necessary for that person to follow their dreams. And that's what I'm doing. And I know this is scary for you. It is also scary for me. But I am going to step out and follow my dreams. And if you decide to follow those dreams with me, it would be an honor and it would mean a lot to me. Now, when a parent hears that, they're going to step back and go, wow, okay. He's not asking for money. He's not begging. He's just asking me to support him in his dream. And a parent will usually get behind that and cheer you on, and that's really what you want. Now, in all of that, if they still don't, if they say you're freaking nuts, like do not do this, and you decide still to follow that dream, use that as fuel to prove Mom and Dad wrong and say, look, I did it, right? I can do this. I am strong. I am capable. And some relationships are going to be that way. However your family situation is built, make sure that you speak to all the people in your life that are important to you and let them know what you're doing. Don't do this in secret. Your spouse needs to stand behind you and help you out. That's your homework for tonight. Take care, guys.